Hello, calculus students. I hope you are having a great day. This is the Sunday video for Calculus 3, Math 213 on September 20th, 2020. That's 9/20/2020. Okay, so what are we doing this week? Okay, I hope you know that there's another test coming this week. And so your primary focus this week is to review for test number 2. Okay, and then to take test number 2 on Wednesday. Wednesday morning is when you have the second test. All right, and what's going to be on this test? Well, the last two sections of chapter 2, which are quadric surfaces, like hyperboloids and paraboloids and ellipsoids, and then you have the 2 extra coordinate systems you learned, the spherical and the cylindrical. And then chapter 3 is all about motion in space, right? So vector valued functions, including things like capital T, capital N, capital B, Greek lowercase kappa. I hope you know what all of those things mean. In fact, let me just show you what I wanted to tell you today so that I will not miss anything, okay? So I will share the screen. I will go to the items one by one. All right, so the first thing I should say is this, okay, and I hope you already know this, but it is kind of important for you to watch lecture videos. And so these lecture videos, as you know, are linked to YouTube. So I see the YouTube analytics, and I know that many people are watching these videos. I can see the number of views for each video. But watching these videos is like going to class, right? Now, if you were, well, obviously you sign up for Monday, Wednesday morning Calculus 3 class. If we were meeting face-to-face, I think almost all of you will come and attend a class every Monday and Wednesday morning, right? And so for some reason, though, if it's on video, because maybe it is flexible, you say, well, I'll just watch this later, or I'm just not going to watch parts of this. But look, if you are struggling, or if you really want to do well, the first thing you should do is obviously to attend class. In which case, of course, in this case, during the pandemic, that is equivalent to watching these videos. Okay, I don't care if you want to, watch it at a faster speed. That's okay. But you really can't expect to learn things well without watching these videos. This is where I explain, and you probably have seen the way, I try to explain the reasoning behind what you do. Okay, in other words, it's not enough to just memorize the formulas, okay, because that's only going to get you a little bit in your mathematical career. The whole important thing about mathematics is the understanding of the concepts. Okay, without good and deep understanding of these concepts, you are not going to do well in calculus and beyond. So make sure you attend these classes, that is, to watch these videos. Okay, so in chapter 3, this is the past week. You were supposed to watch the videos for the 4 lessons, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4. So you had the unit tangent vectors, the principal unit normal vectors, then binormal, kappa for the curvature. Of course, you know how to find the velocity and acceleration, as well as the speed, which is the norm or the magnitude of your velocity. All right. So this past week, you have hopefully studied chapter 3, all of chapter 3. And if you are behind, you still have a couple of days to catch up. But really, I would like you to do the review of 2.6 through 3.4. What's the best way to prepare for your upcoming test number 2? The format will be similar. I will be talking about test 2 in just a moment. But the what's the best way to do this? To practice test number 2, okay? This is the best way to practice for or to prepare for your test number 2. Test number 2 is very similar to format to test number 1. And of course, you still have the show your work assignment, which needs to be turned in, within 30 minutes of your completion of the online part, okay? And so you will have multiple choice questions, for which you do not have to show your work, but for free response questions, you do have to show your work. One particular thing unique about this test is that there will be, ready for this, one big question. One big question which is worth 15 points. So I'll be giving you a vector valued function, not surprisingly, and then I will be asking you to find not only the velocity and acceleration, but the unit tangent vector, unit normal vector, principal unit normal vector, the binormal vector, and the curvature, a few other things maybe. Okay, so that is something that you need to practice. I know that on homework, and by the way, I try to give you more challenging or maybe application-oriented problems on homework because that's the time that you have. I mean, you don't have a limited time to do your homework. That is a time for you to explore and to investigate and to constructively struggle so that you can build muscles. And this is just like your sports practice. The tests are like your performance or your the games. And you can't perform well during official game or contest unless you practice hard. And so during the practice, you do things like lifting weights or run like for miles and miles, which you don't do during your real game. Right. But so the point is your homework is more challenging typically than my test questions. And that's again by design. So I'm just going to tell you on this test, you don't have to do any questions involving the flight of a baseball or cannonballs. Okay. So I'm just going to let you know, don't worry about if you're concerned about, like, hey, I don't know exactly if I can do those baseball questions about, if this is a home run or not. Don't worry about that. Okay. Again, the best way to practice to prepare for this is to take that practice number 2. I have provided not only practice test number 2, but its solutions, okay, as well as the videos. Right. So check your Canvas shell, and then there's a Canvas module called test number 2, and you will see all the resources as well as practice test number 2 in that module. All right, the study groups will be reorganized after test number 2. As usual, test number 2, it'll take me a few days to grade all that because I have almost 40 students. And by the way, the day before, I'm giving a test in my other class, which is Math 100, Liberal Arts Math, where I have 4 sections and about 140 students altogether will be taking that test. So this time I may take a little extra day or 2 to grade your test, but that test will be graded within a few days following the test. Make sure you turn your homework in before your test is taken. And so I think that's all I'm going to say about what's coming this week. And then, of course, next week you'll be starting chapter 4, which is yet another type of multivariable functions. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful week. Remember, the test is on Wednesday. You have that 2.5 hour or 3 hour window from 8 to 11 in the morning in which to take your test number 2, and that will be taken synchronously. So you will be taking it along with everybody else at the same time, but you do not have to zoom in. You just have to log on to Canvas to take that test. I hope you do well. And that's Wednesday, so you have a few more days to prepare. And so if you need any kind of help, please don't hesitate to contact me. I will have my office hours as usual, but if those are not convenient, make sure you write to me and I can set up another Zoom lesson or Zoom individual office hours to help you out. Okay, so I hope you have a great week and I'll talk to you later. Bye.